Today I was actually musing about mindful speech, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Been thinking about that recently and came across an article also that I think I'll share at some point in our newsletter. And, one teaching, and this is, of course, important for all of us who are communicating verbally to anyone in our lives, whether in a partnered relationship or not. And one teaching has to do with, allowing your speech to pass through five gates, the metaphor of five gates. And those gates are can be posed as questions. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it well-timed? Is it kind? And is it beneficial? True, necessary, well-timed, kind, beneficial. So for the psychotherapists out there working with couples or anyone, working with communication process in any context, these gates to remember can be really, really important for guiding speech. I think the first one is, of course, very evident, unless you're looking to consciously advance propaganda. Hopefully what we say to others, what we say to ourselves is true, I'm reminded of the wise woman Byron Katie's process of four questions that helps people to get sort of through the story that's holding them back. And those four really important questions that she asks begins with the question, is it true? So a very important question, and all of these questions are really important for these days. Is it necessary? Sometimes I might fill the air with unnecessary speech. Why might that be? There's a question to think about, apply to your own being. And we'll talk about this in a moment as I go through these five gates. Is it necessary? Is it well-timed? As an adult child of a Sicilian American immigrant family, I can tell you that timing, at least maybe from an outside perspective, may not always be well timed, but if you're from my family culture, it's great, So context really applies here. If you're from the culture I grew up in, talking at the same time as everyone, it's not about bad or good. It's about letting it all out. However, in a business meeting or even in a Zoom meeting, talking at the same time as someone else would probably not be considered well-timed. And then we move to kindness. Is it kind? And I like the framing. I shared with you a very contemporary and provocative Buddhist monk. And he probably shares the same name as several other Buddhist monks. And if you want to look him up, let me know, and I'll send you a link to his work. Ajahn Brahm, Brahm. Apparently, he's leading the largest sangha in the entire Southern Hemisphere. I believe he's located in Australia. And he plays with words. He's a brilliant fellow from the UK originally. And he's using this term kindfulness that I believe I've shared with you in the past. And I really like that. If we're going to practice mindfulness, let it be also kindfulness. How can we integrate the heart of caring and compassion through the words that we speak? And what I've found, especially in, sort of stepping in it throughout my life, is that the tone of voice really matters too. How we communicate, of course, can be conveyed non-verbally as well. I remember I once had a predicament where I was playfully acting sort of annoyed with someone in a professional context, and it was over the telephone. And that's not a good place to try to convey nonverbal communication. And they didn't catch what I thought was a little irony or playfulness. And they were feeling hurt or at least strained and stressed by how I communicated. And I felt hurt about that and cleaned it up after the fact with this person that was a colleague of mine. So, watching our nonverbal behavior as well to convey kindness when we speak is another gate. And beneficial. Is it beneficial? Think about this word beneficial, of course, with the root word coming from the Latin, having to do with the good. Does it convey a sense of goodness for the people we communicate to? I think one way to look at this, which is a very popular topic, very important topic these days, is does our speech unite or divide others? Does our speech unite or divide others? And a very, uh, a common process here with regarding divisive or unifying speech is that of gossip. On some level, of course, gossip allows us to bond with the person we're speaking to. And on another level, it excludes or offers a criticism, maybe, or some kind of exciting rumor, maybe, or maybe not. But gossip is often tinged with, some other elements like aggression or jealousy or envy or something other than, let's say, purity of heart is what I find. And it's important to remind ourselves about that as well, because gossip, of course, can be very, very divisive, even if it never gets back to the person or group of people that you're gossiping about. So let me just review those again, and then we'll open it up for discussion. Those 5 gates. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it well-timed? Is it kind? And is it beneficial?